Welcome to StarWatch Now, your front row seat to all the hottest gossip, drama, and breaking news from the world of entertainment. If it's trending, shocking, or star-studded, we're covering it. Stay tuned. You won't want to miss what's coming next. Imagine waking up to see your favorite A-list star trending for going independent, only to learn the so-called new studio actually dates back years. Tonight on Update X24H, we're not chasing noise. We're decoding the playbook. If you care about artistic freedom, smart business, and what really drives change in Cient, this is your episode. On November 6th, the headline sounded simple: Wang Yibo has his own studio. But what gripped millions was not the novelty. It was the timing, the pattern, the sense that scattered dots were finally connecting. A studio reportedly registered years ago suddenly becomes the emblem of a longer journey towards authorship, of work, of image, of risk. Across recent projects, viewers have noticed shifting credits and quieter, firmer choices about how and with whom to collaborate. That is why this matters now, because a story we once read as a rumor is revealing itself as a strategy, and strategy changes consequences. For fans, this is the relief of seeing a favorite move with intention rather than react to noise. For the industry, it is a mirror held up to an old model that treats talent as inventory, reminding everyone that the audience has grown fluent in timelines, filings, and brand architecture. And for younger artists, it is a lesson in stewardship. Build foundations before you need them. Register your name before others trade on it. Shift from firefighting to safeguarding, from borrowed momentum to owned velocity. The stakes are not merely personal. When one of the most bankable names signals a preference for transparent credits, safer sets, and clearer governance, it can nudge the entire ecosystem towards better behavior. This is why the conversation swells today, not yesterday. We are watching a threshold moment, when a private structure becomes public meaning. It is the instant a plan stops being a footnote and starts becoming a North Star, telling fans that loyalty was not misplaced, telling critics that patience was not naive, and telling the market that the future belongs to artists who know both their craft and their contracts. What looks like a breaking headline is, in truth, the final scene of a long rehearsal. The new studio is not an impulsive exit sign but a signpost planted years ago, now illuminated by everything that has happened since. The careful curation of credits, the tightening of brand governance, the quiet pivot from reactive statements to proactive safeguards. The reveal is not that a company exists. It is that the context around it has matured. Fans who once skimmed for gossip now read filings, trace timelines, and notice which entities appear, or conspicuously do not, on project slates. That literacy changes the texture of the story. Instead of a twist, we are witnessing a thesis. An artist is repositioning himself from employee to enterprise, from being managed to managing risk, value, and narrative. The studio becomes a keystone holding together multiple arches: international representation, trademark architecture, legal strategy, safety standards, so the entire structure can bear more weight without cracking. This is why the moment feels charged. It suggests a future where collaboration is chosen rather than assigned, where partners are measured not by leverage but by alignment, where success is defined not only by numbers but by the conditions under which those numbers are made. For viewers, the emotion is recognition. These dots were there all along. Someone simply drew the line. For the industry, the message is disciplined and unshowy. Build early, document clearly, credit fairly, protect the craft so the craft can protect you. And for younger artists, the reveal is a map. Proof that independence is not a leap into the dark but a lanternlit path taken one deliberate step at a time, until the day the room you quietly built becomes bright enough for everyone to see. Views are loud. Value is patient. The problem with chasing spikes is that they teach us to confuse attention with achievement, when the work that endures is almost always built in the quiet grammar of systems. Who is credited, how contracts are written, which partners are chosen, what safety looks like on set, and whether a brand can stand upright without a trending tab to lean on. Following the value means asking different questions. Not how many clicks arrived overnight, but what kind of trust is compounding month after month. Not whether a slogan trended, but whether the audience can describe in their own words what this artist stands for. Not how often a face appears, but how consistently the output reflects a coherent standard. In practical terms, value is the shift from being a guest in other people's formats to owning the format. From accepting whatever deal arrives to architecting partnerships that share risk, respect the craft, and reward the audience with better work, not just louder campaigns. It is the decision to publish clear credits so the ecosystem learns to prize contribution over proximity. It is the insistence on safer, kinder production practices because excellence without dignity is a deficit masked as success. Value is also measurable, just not only in the ways dashboards prefer. It shows up in lower churn between eras, in higher rewatch rates when quality is the hook, in brands returning because alignment outperformed reach. It lives in the way a community defends you when the algorithm does not. To follow the value is to accept that virality is a weather pattern and stewardship is the climate. Views can be rented. Values must be owned. And when an artist treats their name as a promise rather than a product, the market eventually recalibrates. The numbers return, but this time they arrive carrying proof that the house was built to last. Independence, when done properly, is not a door slammed but a house designed. What is new here is the precision of the blueprint. The playbook begins with naming, securing trademarks not as trophies but as tools, so that music, film, fashion, and live experience can speak a single language. It continues with partnership by choice, not habit. Global representation for scale, local guardianship for soul, each agreement shaped to protect creative time rather than consume it. The legal stance shifts from firefighting to fireproofing, clear image rights, usage terms, and safety obligations that prevent the slow erosion of dignity that too often passes for normal. Credits become a form of ethics. Everyone who builds the work is seen in the light so the audience can trust the process as much as the product. This playbook also rethinks how an artist learns in public. Content is not just performance. It is proof of craft. Behind-the-scenes rehearsals, method diaries, technical breakdowns of choreography, cinematography, or race telemetry invite fans into the workshop, turning admiration into understanding and attention into apprenticeship. Commercially, the model privileges elasticity over empire. Instead of one monolithic contract, there are modular ventures, album cycles, documentary units, capsule collaborations, each with crisp scopes and exit ramps, so momentum never hardens into obligation. Safety is treated as non-negotiable infrastructure. From rigging standards to mental health buffers to rehearsals budgeted for failure, because excellence grows fastest where it is safe to fall. And the audience is given a seat at the table without being turned into a commodity. Feedback windows, transparent milestones, and community projects with credit and share, so belonging becomes measurable. The most radical element is its patience. Independence here is not the noise of departure. It is the calm of design, the quiet confidence that when a name is curated like an ecosystem, the work that follows does not merely travel further, it travels truer. What matters next is less a single announcement and more a pattern you can trace with steady eyes. Watch the credits because they are the most honest diary an artist keeps. Which entities appear on films, series, documentaries, tours, and brand collaborations will tell you who truly carries the work and how power is being balanced behind the scenes. Notice whether the brand architecture widens from names on paper to experiences in the world, pop-ups, learning labs, craft exhibitions, signals that the name is not just a label but an ecosystem. Pay attention to the legal and safety vocabulary around each project. Are production partners publicly committing to stunt protocols, rehearsal buffers, mental health provisions, and transparent accountability when things go wrong? Track the cadence of partnerships. Independence done well prefers modularity, so you may see more time-boxed ventures with clear scopes, exit ramps, and a discipline about alignment over reach. Look for the education of the audience as a deliberate thread. Process videos that teach choreography structure, blocking choices, sound design, or race telemetry are not mere extras. They are a statement that mastery, not myth, is the currency. Follow the trademarks as they migrate across categories. If they begin to anchor live experiences, limited editions, and charitable projects, the brand is learning to breathe beyond screens. Observe how the community is invited to participate with credit and share, not just clicks. Open calls for short films, duet challenges that credit choreography, fan-curated screenings with Q&A that shape future cuts. And finally, read the silence between milestones. If fewer but finer releases arrive with consistency in tone, safety, and credit discipline, that restraint is not absence. It is authorship. In that quiet, A career is being tuned like an instrument, until the next note lands not as a surprise, but as the inevitable sound of a structure that has been carefully, patiently built. If I were COO for a day, I would begin by making safety the architecture rather than the afterthought. We would publish a production charter that is short enough to read and strong enough to bind, setting out stunt protocols, rehearsal buffers, medical cover, working hour caps, debriefs when things go wrong, and independent audits with the power to pause a set. Every partner would sign it. Every project would display compliance publicly. Every breach would have a documented remedy. Not because it looks good, but because excellence grows in places where people are not afraid to fail safely. Next, I would create an IP incubator that treats artistry like research and development. Each quarter we would commission emerging writers, choreographers, and indie directors to build small, testable pieces around the artist's core pillars: music, screen, movement, motorsport, with shared ownership, transparent recoup terms, and pathways from short form to long form. The incubator would publish its own learning reports, so even abandoned ideas return value as knowledge. Finally, I would introduce a skills ledger, a living record of craft that measures growth with the same seriousness we measure reach. Vocal stamina, acting methods, choreography complexity, camera literacy, race telemetry fluency, each mapped to milestones, mentors, and time. The ledger would guide training budgets, inform project selection, and power a new kind of behind-the-scenes content that teaches the audience how mastery is made. Together, these three moves join ethics to efficiency. The charter protects people, the incubator protects ideas, and the ledger protects standards. They also rebalance relationships. Partners compete on alignment, not just money. Fans become stakeholders in process, not merely consumers of outcome. And the market, seeing a house with foundations this clear, begins to price in something rarer than buzz: the compound interest of trust.